All right. Well, welcome to the Mad Maker Show. This is Eloy coming at you again. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad.
Doing all right, JP?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad at all.
We have a special guest tonight. You could say hey before we do our little intro thing.
What's up?
Oh, yeah. All right, guys, a couple of things. We're going to be talking to Michael Lowen, and we want to get to know a little bit more about this maker. So we'll be doing that shortly. I just have a couple of things to mention. You know what? It's funny because I just got my notification that I'm live independently. So we're going to be interviewing Michael in a couple of moments here. Just want to go through a couple of things. JP, you have a long list of stuff to mention. And I've got some links that I wanted to screen share and show. So I'll go ahead and try and do that quickly here. Tell me if it works and you see that I'm screen sharing. Yes? No?
Not yet. You're not over here. Oh, yeah, he's catching up now. Yep.
Okay, cool. So a couple of things to mention, and I know you're going to mention it, but makersmedianetwork.com, first place ever that has all member logo shirts and other things. But JP is going to mention that. I had it set up, so I wanted to show you that. We also have on my site, I'm doing all the covers, the cover art that I've done for all the shows and all the makers. So you could go check that. The links are going to be in the description. And including this episode as well. So these are all the shirts. But this is the official shirt over here for the Mad Maker Show. Right here. And so, yeah, that's that bit. If you want to grab one, you can check out the link, rockinwoodworks.com. And we have Portal Woodworks Plywood Challenge as well. So I wanted to mention that. It runs till the end of July. Lots of prizes involved and sponsors. So you might want to check that out. You can see the prizes here. That's portalwoodworks.com. So that'll take care of my bit. I'll come back to us and stop sharing. And I'm wearing one of the Mad Maker shirts here. So that pretty much covers it, JP.
Yes. My name's JB. I'm drinking out of my Minecrafting mug. My YouTube is JP Woodwork. Twitter and Instagram is JP_Woodwork. I'm one sick for the Makers International podcast. Websites are jp-woodwork.com and makersinternationalpodcast.com. Both websites are sponsored by Harnell Media. Thanks to Steve Nealon, and that is harnellmedia.com. That's about it. But also part of the Makers Media Network. And the Makers Media Network is jam-packed full of members of the community. And speaking of members of the community, like Eloy just showed a minute ago, each member of the community has some sort of logo of some sort. Well, these logos of some sorts get put on T-shirts and mugs. Well, all of these T-shirts and mugs are now being put into one place for you to purchase if you wish. And there is now a link where you can save on shipping or save a hell of a lot of money on shipping. At the moment in the store, there is 50 plus shirts and 20-ish mugs over there at the moment, but it's being updated daily. So yeah, it's I'll put a link over in the chat, but it's makersmedianetwork.com /index.php/product-category/members-logo/apparel//. So yeah, there you go. All right, or you could just go to the shop, I guess.
Back to me though.
Yeah, back to you.
Okay then. All right. earlier when Michael Long came on, he had this steep angle that I'll show you, and he said, "Well, why that's brilliant, dude. Why should it be straightforward? The angle. Let's go back to some '70s sort of retrorific angles. Did you just think of that, or what? Why? Why this angle? It just works for you,
Yeah, mostly I just didn't want you guys to see the pile of laundry I haven't hung up.
dude. That's brilliant.
Boxers or briefs?
Yeah, boxers.
Thank goodness.
I don't hang those up though.
We don't wear them at Dangles.
So the first time that well, it's not really the first time. I'll start here. I met you through in the group, and you one of the pivotal moments, at least for me, is that there was a moment, and we'll just go to this sort of occurrence. There was a moment. I bet you don't know what the hell I'm about to say.
Maybe not.
Okay, so are you probably wondering where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm using words like pivotal moment, this, and that, right? You can speak.
Where are we going?
Oh no, I'm going to continue. I just want to see your reaction to see how leading up
Yeah.
to whatever the heck I'm going to say, what your thought process is. So there was a moment a couple of years ago when, and I just want to look at your. There we go. A moment a couple of years ago when there was an issue. See, you're going to find out now what I'm about to talk about once I use this keyword, where Geico, whatever, he.
Jacko.
I'm sorry?
Jacko.
There's no need to insult me here, dude. We're talking about makers. There is no need for that kind of wickedness live on air.
It's a European thing.
So Jacko, he, by the way, Michael, do you know where we're going now?
Yeah. The USB hub.
Dude,
challenge.
don't ruin it by telling people what happened. Yes. There was a huge problem because Jacko, it's difficult for me to say that word without smiling. He did a USB thing where it's concrete and the USB hub, and people frickin' ripped him to shreds back and forth, day and night, forever and ever.
That was the first time I'd seen a video on YouTube with more thumbs down than thumbs up. And it wasn't like 50 and 50. It was like, I think, thousands.
Dude, people hated vehemently with
it was nuts.
They made it their life goal to try and destroy the guy for that one particular frickin' cool frickin' build.
Well, and it's a build video. It's not like anything political or divisive because of what it is. It was just like people hated the idea and the execution, and it just, I mean, they weren't afraid to tell him about how much they thought it sucked. Like, it was just,
but poetically,
yeah.
See, it wasn't just. It was like I also have a passion for destroying this guy and his creation.
Yeah, it was rough.
So you went and created this whole challenge or support thing, and everybody went to town with it. When it was all said and done, it was like wildfire everywhere. Tell us a little bit about that whole process and who became involved and just your experience with it when you put that out there and all that, please.
Yeah, it so obviously it was really awful to see somebody, put work into something and then people just tear it down. And like you said, just like go to town with it. And I kind of joked to start with, that's what everybody should make now. Just, everybody's next project is a concrete USB hub. And then that way everybody can just hate what everybody's putting out. And I think it was Caleb Kraft that was the first one that was like, yeah, let's do it. And it just kind of it kind of got its own wings. By the end, we had all the prizes were from people in the community, except I did get Quickcrete to throw in. I think it was like $50. And that ended up going to Bernie Solo.
Wait. Bernie Huo?
Oh yeah, it works by Solo. Dude's first YouTube
Oh.
video, I think, and completely just like destroyed. Totally rad. But we had some awesome innovation and people coming together for this like fairly ridiculous build. I can't remember how many entries there were by the end of it, but it just like totally floored me. We had a write up in Make about it, which was really cool. And then a couple other places picked it up and did a little snippet about it.
Yeah, dude, I thought it was a great moment, you know. So yeah, that's that. Now, before we continue, let's find out who's out there, and then we can get into your thing. It's just that was a pivotal moment because you picked up on that situation. I went and saw all the comments, but it was
rough, man.
But dude, it was like barbaric. Like people were calling each other probably all across the world and say, "Hey, man, get on this one." Okay, I'll be soon. It was like freaking crazy. So yeah, JP, please.
Yep, no worries. Right, we've got OJ's Woodworking Crafts out there, David Jones from Portal Woodworks, Jim Bashirs, Miquenlo Loretto, Steve Nealon from Harnell Media, Jim Bashirs, Works by Silo, Dan the Maker Man, Mancrafting. Happy birthday from the other day, Chad, by the way. He was 65, I think, something like that.
No, see, dude, don't do that. He is not 65. He's 63.
All right, okay. Julian Martinez, Shogun Jimmy, Doc Hildebrand, also co-host of this show when I'm not about. So big shout out to Doc for that. Who else is there? Daniel Harju, Katie Dotson, John B. Happy, Patrick's Workshop, Mark Lindsay CNC. Let's keep going up. See who else we got there. Woodcrafted. Bob Lee. I think that's everyone. Oh no, Anna's workshops out there as well. Katie Dotson, did I say that before? Oh, Michael Lawling's out there. Frankie CNC Woodworking's out there as well. I think that's it for the time. Let's quickly scroll back down. And Works by Solo. Oh, Bobby Duke. Ah! Yep, that's it, mate, for the time being.
All right. I almost started.
Sorry, and Tony Rulu.
Whoa.
Tony Rulu.
Yeah, there was a lot of sliding down that hill this weekend. I was sent a clip, a secret clip of Sterling holding up Julian 5x30. It was a secret clip that wasn't to be released, and it was released on the Dingleberry private group over there on Facebook. Yeah, it was sensual.
I've seen some weird pictures. I don't know why people feel the need to send them sort of pictures to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I want to ask that. So what are we talking about?
Like kind of Sterling, kind of laying down in a very sexy pose on the slip and slide. For argument's sake.
Oh well, my goodness.
To
be continued.
I mean, I'm not complaining, but I don't know why they feel the need to send them to me.
All right, so I guess that solves all the prep work to the show. So, dude, give us a little bit, if you would, about growing up, your history, where you're from, sort of growing up life, and yeah, just give us an overview of that.
Sure. So I'm from Seneca, South Carolina. Seneca and Walhalla. That's up in the furthest top left corner of South Carolina. Got a brother, mom and dad. Mom was a teacher. Dad had all kinds of jobs, mostly a mechanic. Around the time I was in middle school and high school, he was a drill bit manufacturing machine operator. So growing up, I mean, he did all kinds of stuff: plumber's assistant, electrician's assistant. So pretty much anything around the house that needed to be done, we would at least try and work on it. A lot of wrenching on cars, and had really old houses for most of my life. So scraping paint, fixing ancient plumbing, all sorts of crazy stuff. Really got into art as a kid. I think it was like my first or second grade classroom journal. We had like a "What do you want to be when you grow up" thing, and I remember clear as day, like drawing myself as an artist with like the beret and the painter's palette, and like wanted to be an artist when I grew up. Kept with the art up through high school. At one point, I thought I would double major in college with music and art. Pretty much gave up the art in my senior year, though. The way that the public school system and then even college, the way that they want to like structure your art, it really kind of takes away the whole point of doing it. And I mean, I get, they want to teach you technique and stuff, but it really was like way too confining for what I wanted to do. And so I really didn't make anything after I got out of high school. I didn't make anything until my wife and I got married right after I graduated my undergrad in college. And we bought this crappy little house that needed all kinds of work. And I ended up getting just like a DeWalt circular saw, Sawzall, and drill combo, and we, started fixing the house. My in-laws wanted to do a rocking horse when we had my first kid, and so we had been playing around, like kind of learning how to use, a router and my father-in-law's table saw, and we made a rocking horse, and it just kind of picked up steam from there. Anywhere you want to go with that?
Okay, yeah. So it's interesting. A lot of people end up having to repair the homestead, or and then they get into that. But how about, so it just came in that fashion? But when did you? Was it during that time that you probably looked at videos and ran into the maker community where you connected?
Yeah, like if it hadn't been for the home repair thing, I would have been scared to death of power tools. Up until I got the table saw I have now, I was still scared of the little I had like the $100 Craftsman Evolve, like direct drive, rattle across the floor table saw. Like I never would have gotten near doing any of this kind of making.
Yeah.
But yeah, at some point I was watching like how-to videos to figure out, like okay, I can turn a router on and I can do a round over. Like, how do I use these other bits? And I found a Steve Ramsey Woodworking from Immortals video. And at the same time, I'd been watching a lot of like the Trash to Treasure shows on Netflix, and the Duresta show came up, and I think I binge watched that in like one weekend, and Googled him, and then like found Duresta's videos on YouTube. So I'm watching Steve Ramsey and Duresta, and it just it was like an instant rabbit hole. And it wasn't very long after that that Sterling actually put out the pallet upcycle challenge, and like I was just like enamored. Like, I can go get free wood, I can go use tools I already have, and I can go be part of this community of people sharing stuff, and like bring back some of that like artistic passion that I had before.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I got here.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page, because I had to repair the homestead when my old man passed, and I had to, I went up and touched a wall and scratched the chipping paint. It was the first thing. I just went tunk and went, and I said, well, I gotta not only repaint but a bunch of stuff, and I started from there. And then I saw a Duresta video, and I said, oh well, this is sort of like like art. And I connected the two together. And I said, oh, well, you know what? I'll make some videos and stuff. I think that a lot of us have that same experience. But it's funny how it's all like it's sort of, we're all interconnected. This
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
that guy, and right?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you right now, the first video that I saw from you was the skull chair. I think the same thing for SDM Customs. He did the skull chair. Bales, it was the wooden robot Instructable.
Bales just gets under my skin. I hope he's not out there. Good, so we can talk bad about him publicly.
It's worse than that. Scrolls for Scribbler is.
Oh no. You know, I beat that guy at scroll sawing one time.
Get out.
Yep. True story.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So yeah, we're all interconnected like that, and this guy knows that guy, and then this guy introduces that one to that one, and so on and so forth. And there's this whole connection with all these makers, and then all throughout Europe and other places, and it's like, you know, crazy. I really dig that aspect of the making. Now, as far as so you do a lot of lathe work.
Yep.
As well, and but actually, before we get, you know, just excuse me out there, because I want to ask, you do have a strong sort of like, you know, like, and I'm gonna miss a few people, but like Dan the Maker Man, Ryan Bitters, and a lot of the cats out there, well, Justin Christensen as well, have a lot of these themes with comic books and stuff, and you do too, at least in D&D, at least, you know, there's a strong connection. How was that like, when were you introduced to the, you know, comic book stuff, and can you give me a little bit of your thoughts on that, because it's all art and it really does influence our sort of thinking and stuff. It's a powerful thing.
No,
So,
absolutely. That's like if I could put out what's in here on the page, or the work, it would 100% be like the most heavy 80s, you know, metal album artwork that like moms wouldn't want their kid to see. Like Tipper Gore would hate me because like what I would put down would be like the most awesome heavy metal album cover.
yeah, just as a reference, Tipper Gore was Al Gore's wife, or is, or I don't know how that works now. And back in the 80s, there was a huge to-do with music, and music back, I mean, it's funny because parents were afraid that these heavy metal, you know, bands were influencing kids, not only to off themselves, but all sorts of stuff, you know, with the evil and stuff, because it's all like horror movie. And Ozzy Osbourne always said that we started the band and we wanted to do music that was like soundtracks to horror movies, right? It's all for fun and this and that. Well, in the 80s, it started getting a little bit rough with the rap music as well. You had people like Two Live Crew and other bands, and then the rockers, and the language. So they wanted to curtail the whole music thing by putting labels on it. Frank Zappa was up on there fighting for freedom of speech, because, you know, within music art, you know, you can't. So there's a whole to do about that. That was a great reference. Continue, dude.
But yeah, I don't know what really started it. My dad had a really awesome record collection, at least to me as a kid. You know, I did get introduced to comics pretty early. My mom was a teacher, like I said, so we were at a local university for some Spanish test that she was taking kids to, and one of the kids gave me money to go down and get a comic book, and that kind of started it all. Really got into, like, you know, X-Men and the Punisher, like the movie Heavy Metal. I don't remember when I first saw it, but just that, like, just totally nuts animation. At some point I got into the Larry Elmore, like Dragonlance book covers, all the fantasy stuff that he did. And I just got like ravenous. One of the things that I really I kind of have an obsessive trait. So like if I get into something, I want to get like completely into it and know as much as I can and just like absorb all of it. So I think that's like I've got a lot of that pop culture in there, but it's also like completely varied and all over the place, which is also kind of how I am with the different skills. Like I'm never going to master any of the, whether it's turning or scrolling or any of that. Like I'm never going to be able to focus enough attention on any of it to like really master it, because I just want to get into everything.
That's an interesting thing, because see, that's the thing. There's so much cool stuff out there, and in order to completely perfect a craft, and that's an ongoing thing for the rest of your life, you have to stick to it and abandon all other paths for the most part.
Yeah, I don't want to miss any of that other stuff.
Yeah, because dabbling is fun as heck as well when you dabble.
It's rough in a small workshop because you get accumulation syndrome, but yeah, I mean, if I wasn't that way, I don't think I would have ever gotten to the lathe. Like I initially thought that was like a boring, it's just round, it just spins. Like what's exciting about that?
Oh, dude.
Little did I know.
Oh, okay. Thank you for adding.
No, it's like my favorite thing now. I would say that's probably my favorite tool, definitely my favorite discipline right now.
Well, you're also getting to poke at the wood and sort of move it around and to shape it and stuff, and you're getting to, and all it takes is you going me, and as opposed to you're here.
Honestly, I think the thing I like about it the most is finishing is easy on the lathe. Like you just hold your hand and let it spin, and you're like, it's good enough. It's not like sanding something flat for 4 hours.
That's actually true. What do you think about that, JP? I'm curious about.
I disagree. It's not as simple as holding your hand there.
Well, I mean, I'm oversimplifying it, but for me, finishing a pin or really anything that you can hold on the lathe, like it's doing the motion for you. I have a lot more control and patience.
You kind of need background music like Careless Whisper or something like that, and like a bit of water or something like that. Baby oil.
Well, and to be fair, I do a lot more acrylic than wood.
So you're wet sanding at the same time, so you definitely need Careless Whisper. So, right, well, we have got quite a few questions from out in the chat.
All right.
Right, let's go from the top. Dan the Maker Man, it says, ask Lauren about his kangaroo pelt.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so we own a kangaroo pelt. My wife's granddad, who is deceased, he was a master knife maker, like insane. People go out of their way to collect his knives. You can look him up, George Heron Knives. And so one of his customers way back when from Australia sent this package, and like they're in this tiny little town in the middle of nowhere, South Carolina. And the postal carrier like walks up and he's like, this package is from Australia. Like, can I stick around and see what the heck is in this package? And they like stand there and open this kangaroo pelt. And so, so we wound up with it. I photographed some pins on it, kind of give the vibe of like the knife photos with like the natural background. But yeah, it's kind of freaky with it laid out on the guest bed when people come over.
Fair dues.
It's like petting a rabbit.
Spanking a monkey.
No.
Yeah, spanking a monkey.
Yeah, like
Julian Martinez says, how many times have you watched E.T. in Spanish?
More than I've seen it in English, actually. That was one of like 4 movies my mom had in her classroom when she taught Spanish. So I actually didn't see it or the movie Casper. I didn't see either of those in English for like years. Hey, telefono, mi casa.
Doc would like to know paper or plastic.
Yes. I bring my own bags to the store. I shop at Aldi.
There you go. OJ's Woodworking and Craft says, how big is it? The shop, that is.
Oh, so we have a 2-car garage. My wife's van lives in there full time. I wheel it out into the driveway when I want to do any work. So I mean, I've got a table saw, full size miter saw, tiny lathe, and everything just kind of has to get moved around if I want to use any of it.
Okay. Chad from Man Crafting. He says, what is your favorite book? What are you currently reading, and what are you reading next?
So I have a master's degree in library and information science, and I like rarely read. Like it's the total opposite of what you might think. I actually am currently reading something. It's like a 1992 book on routers. It's actually really good, and it's blowing my mind because it's stuff that I've like never seen on YouTube, and I've watched like countless hours of random videos on every kind of woodworking tool, and I'm actually still learning stuff. So that's kind of really exciting. As far as favorite as it relates to like making stuff, Roy Underhill put out a series of books like 30, 40 years ago, and they are still absolutely incredible. He's got one where he takes you from like going and finding a tree in the woods to like dragging it back to your house with oxen and like using a bowl adze to like hack away at it.
You're
So,
not a woodworker.
highly recommend.
You're not a woodworker unless you drag a chunk of wood with oxen back home.
Basically.
Bernie Solo says, ask Michael what Critcrete said when you first asked him if they were sponsored a USB challenge.
So I actually shot out emails to like 4 or 5 different tech companies, trying to find like maybe somebody who manufactured USB sticks, like thumb drives. Like almost nobody hit me back with anything. I got one rejection, I think. And then Quikrete was actually like, I actually just looked at the email today, going through my old emails. They were open. They kind of wanted to know a little bit more info, but the idea that we were doing something community related, I think appealed. And they, like anybody else, they didn't want to go throw a whole ton of money at it, but I thought $50 was really generous. And they didn't like fight over anything. They're already in the community. They cited working with Ben Ueda, and they've got their one bag wonder contest that they do pretty regular. So they were actually really great to work with.
Yeah, a lot of these companies don't know, or they might know. At least this is what I think. So there's so many. They know there's so many makers out there and stuff, and there's that connection. You see all these larger channels doing that up, but for future reference, all these channels making things, whether they're big, semi-big, small, whatever the case, they're all interconnected and know each other. Just for the record, so everything can become quite the spider's web spread out. Just for the record, I did the same thing with Rockler and got Rockler to hook us up with 5 speaker kits when we did the first Makers Rock back in the day, and it was just us. So yeah, just throwing that idea out there for the future. Continue.
Well, and
go on, Mike.
just to kind of close out on that, I think it's really important, especially with sponsors, but really with anything we do. Like they cited specific people like Ben with Homemade Modern, and to really like to represent the community in a positive way, so that those companies or whoever we're dealing with can come back to us having had a positive experience. That was also really important. I've seen some people just send like, hey, send me free stuff emails, and you've really got to approach it the right way. So I would just really encourage anybody, going to do that to be like as respectful and business-like as you can be.
Yeah. There's a question from Justin, the Scrollsaw Scribbler. He says, "Do you prefer his left or his right butt cheek?"
Pass.
Good man, good man. This is not that type of show.
Yeah, I'm not interested in feeding the trolls.
Scrollsaw Scribbler.
Okay. A question from Shogun Jimmy. He says, "So the term maker means," and you got to fill in the blank.
Yeah, it's a really great catch-all. I struggle with it because I don't know. I think it gained this connotation for like all the 3D printing and Arduino stuff. I think as long as you're being creative and you're putting something out there, I think you qualify for that. A lot since I've had my second kid and kind of been pulled in all these different directions. My woodworking time has really been minimal, but still being able to put stuff down on paper, even if it's designing something and cutting it out on a vinyl cutter, that definitely just gets those creative juices flowing and kind of helps scratch the itch.
Yeah. Right. Got one more, which is from me, and I've been waiting for ages to.
Thank you. Thank you, Temple. Thank you, Temples. Thank you very much, dude.
This is from me, and I've been waiting for ages to ask this. What's your Waffle House order?
Oh man, chicken and eggs over light, scattered extra well covered, sometimes peppered, and then coffee.
There we go. Right, there you go, Eli. Back to you, mate.
Well, according to the Scratched podcast that we had when you were on, there's a whole other menu there, but we're not going to get into that because that's just gonna be. we had a hangout with Lowing. We had who else did we have there? We had Dan the Maker Man, Rory May was there, Wartooth, Sarah, and then the cast of Scratch and stuff. And we went over dinner. Was it there or was it in another place that we talked about that? I shouldn't keep expanding.
I think it might have been another hangout. I don't know. We could do a whole Waffle House episode.
We shouldn't expand on that here.
Sorry, Chad just said, what was the knife maker's name again?
George Heron.
There you go, Chad.
Probably not going to be able to pick up on it super well.
Nice. So let's go back to the let's go to the thing, the lathe. But by the way, before that, do you have a scroll saw? I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah. I started with the Harbor Freight one actually because I saw Sterling use one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, if it's good enough for Sterling and he's turning out this awesome stuff, like I can make the cheap Harbor Freight one work. I actually just passed that on to my father-in-law. I wound up finding like an old school Delta for $15 on Craigslist.
Jeez, dude. Those Craigslist deals that you guys get in the rest of the country here in Miami ain't happening. Oh, ain't happening. That's JP's favorite quote from when Bobby Duke was there visiting. JP, the gang got together and they gathered enough funds to get you a PC. And he goes, what? He goes, ain't happening for like an hour. Ain't happening. And Bobby Duke is filming it live. And JP's like, ain't happening.
Yeah.
Is that all you got to say about that?
Yeah, I'm not saying nothing else.
Ain't happening. Ain't happening. He was so shocked.
Ain't happening. I ain't saying nothing else.
No, yeah, you were like, it ain't happening. But you were adamant about the ain't happening, dude. And Bobby Duke's like, he's like, well, what do you mean it ain't happening? I can't keep the money. Everybody gets. So he was caught in a situation where he's thinking that you're probably thinking that you were saying, no, Bobby Duke, it ain't happening. And so he's sitting there, like, well, we got the funds, dude. What do I do? That was good stuff. Anyways, so tell us a little bit about, well, what kind of projects do you, I was going to ask you directly about the lathe, but we'll get to it, and then we'll
Sure.
get to the Instagram photos. But what kind of projects do you like to do? Let's just put that out there.
So really it usually starts with like something we need. It was mostly pallet stuff to start with. I still don't think that I've spent money on wood other than like pin and turning blanks. Really basic. I feel like I'm still brand new. Like I've got the technical how to from seeing other people do it, but having put stuff into practice, I'm still like super beginner with most of this stuff. Pin turning is probably the thing that I do the most of. And a lot of Corian and acrylic. It was kind of a joke there for a while. If I was posting something, it was probably going to be Corian.
You going to talk on your own show, Eloy? You muted, Eloy?
I know I'm muted. I was trying to type in Temple Boy turning and writing him a message while Michael was talking, and
sorry, I cut it short.
While he was edging over to the finish line, I'm here trying to finish the thing to type in the thing, and then all of a sudden I hear, Eloy, are you gonna Eloy? And I'm like rushing and stuff.
You realize that that's my job.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I just in the middle of the thing, I didn't see And by the way, you shouldn't be looking, Michael. You shouldn't be looking at the chat. I forgot to tell you, but we like our guests not to be visually involved with what they're saying, so that everything comes at you like a catastrophic, event, as opposed to you having pre-knowledge of what's going down. But I never told you, so you're free to do it because it's a free country, right? So, anyways, so I do remember when we had you as a special mention on Matt Haas's show with Ryan Bitters, Made by Nation, which some of you guys might remember.
I was on it. I was on the first one.
Via phone, no? Or did you actually?
Yeah, via phone.
Yeah.
I was a Jackman fanboy.
Yeah, I remember. It was great. I want to tell you this though, Michael. I want to tell you this, and just so Matt Haas would set us up with everybody picks a person to push.
Yeah.
And then we have to study up on everybody's like whatever project or whatever that week. And I picked you, right, for that one?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't have a lathe. I just have a lathe now, like 2 months ago for the first time. So to me, lathe is like the farthest thing on my mind, and the process and everything, and the materials used and this and that. And so you mentioned in the title of this video, Corian. Pen turned from Corian, right? And I don't think Ryan was hip with it. I think Matt Haas might have been, or this or that with the, what are you showing us?
That is a sample tile of Corian.
Nice. So we were talking, and the three of us are there live, and I'm like, so yeah, and the pen, and I didn't know what else to say because I had such a limited amount of knowledge from the lathe, and I said, and it's made from Corian. And then Ryan Bitters, yeah, and I have to send it over to Ryan Bitters, and Ryan Bitters is, yeah, it was a great, we didn't know what else to say because you turned the pen, it's made from Corian, it's done, but we had to extend the thing, so we kept repeating, and it's Corian, can you believe it's Corian? And if you see that show, if you go back, you can see Ryan Bitters, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's fucking awesome, dude. So tell us about your lathe. Can you give us a little bit more in depth of the lathe and
Yeah, so I've got the 10x18 Morse Taper 2 from Harbor Freight. Basically, I found Peter Brown's channel, Shop Time, because of something geeky he had done. Like it was probably like a superhero thing. And then I'm like, well, I'll watch another video, but lathe is going to be boring. And then like 3 hours later, I've binge watched his entire catalog. And I was hooked. And then I started watching Aaron and Elizabeth Day from Make Crazy Days. They were doing some stuff, and they actually had a contest. I won $100 gift certificate from them, which basically funded me getting all of the pin turning stuff. So if it wasn't for this community and them specifically, like I probably wouldn't have gotten to that point nearly as quick. So I mega owe them for that. But so like I've got just the regular high speed steel tools, pin turning kit, and kind of just buy a little bit here and there. I got a chuck back around my birthday, I think back in September. Still haven't got to use my cold jaws. But really just trying to like take what I've got. You know, when I got the chuck, I started doing whatever I could with the chuck, without cold jaws, without the drill chuck, that kind of thing. Just like with what I've got, what recipe can I make with the stuff I've already got without having to go buy more stuff.
Do you put your do you have a store where you sell your pens and all?
I don't. I think I've sold like 3 at this point. They've all been given away as Christmas or special occasion gifts at this point.
Yeah.
I've kept like I think 4 for me and my wife.
Did you bring along any samples here next to you for the show?
Yeah. This is 5 layers per section of segmented Corian.
It's Corian, dude.
Yeah, so basically I'll take these sample tiles, which I got free. They cost if you order directly from DuPont or most of the other manufacturers. There's other brands. It's 100% acrylic, so anybody who manufactures plastic can basically make their own. But I'll stack 5 slices of that with Gorilla Glue, let that cure, and then chop it up, and that's a pin blank.
Dude, that's bad to the bone, dude.
And I mean, it's probably hard to see on this webcam, but I mean, it looks super dull. And then when you turn it, the lines completely disappear. And what I like about doing this gradient is it almost looks like, layers of sediment.
Yep. And how easy is it to turn that? Because that looks like it'll do a number on tools.
It definitely takes the edge away if you're not persistent. I don't have a bandsaw or any way to really trim it down easily. So turning from a square blank, that roughing pass is pretty hard. You get a lot of chip out if you're not careful. You can use CA glue on acrylic, obviously. I find that especially between the brass tube and the Corian, you've got to use Gorilla Glue. And so I just don't chance it when I do a segmentation. I just use Gorilla Glue for that too. Otherwise I was getting where the glue would heat up enough to separate the material. I would get shot in the face with chunks of plastic. So like always use the face shield for sure.
And so wait a second. So I know there's questions, so I'm gonna let JP, but or at least I saw one in passing, but and you're not supposed to look at them, but you can because I didn't.
I'm not.
Okay, so how do you sharpen your? Are you using the traditionals, or you're using all of them are carbide?
All my stuff is high speed steel. So
that's right. You mentioned that before.
Yes. So my entire setup is because I saw Braxton Worthland talk about his. So I've got the Rikon slow speed grinder, just the 8-inch wheels that it comes with. Then I bought the the one-way Wolverine jig, I think. And I didn't buy like the Raptor setup tool or anything. But it was actually surprisingly easy once you get the jig set up. So I just sharpen them and go at it. I actually didn't have a sharpening system for like the first year I was turning. So I was turning with completely blunt tools and it was awful. And when I sharpened them, it just blew my mind, like how much easier everything was.
Twidell has I saw it on a hangout or maybe a midnight for us sort of, or even midnight or early morning for him. He's got this whole system now, like this machine. I forget what the heck it is. Maybe he could let us know, but it's like it'll give you the freaking angle and the whole thing, and it's bad to the bone. I need something like that because
Yeah, I want to get the Varigrind so that I can do the gouges a little bit better.
and
But
what does JP? Oh, JP, you do the carbides. How often do you have to change?
Very rarely. And all you have to do is spin them around and you got a brand new edge.
Once you buy the tools for the carbide stuff, I mean the replacement cutters are relatively cheap if you buy in bulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got both, but I do need something to dress up the traditional tools. Something that that's you go to it and it's set and ready to go. Maybe I'll look into that you're saying. I forget the name that you said. What name did you use?
The Wolverine jig.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look, at those because it's sort of like a must, right?
Pretty much. There's videos on making your own out of wood. It would probably be fine.
Yeah,
I think Average Joe's
that angle, right? It's just getting that angle that you need to.
I honestly follow the angle from the manufacturer. I just run Sharpie over the bevel, and then basically just hold it in place, rotate the wheel by hand, and see where it's taking off the material. But if you don't have a platform to hold it in the same spot, then your test is really going to be kind of iffy.
Okay. JP, did you have any questions out there?
Yeah, there's one question from Tom Spillane. He goes, what type of woodworking do you like doing the most?
Definitely the turning. I just recently got my table saw squared up finally. So I'm looking forward to trying some like basic woodworking again. Particularly, I've been getting into Dungeons and Dragons and just tabletop games. So I want to do like a dice tower and a dice tray.
Yeah. There was actually one from question for Eloy from Steve Twidell. He said, "Can Eloy explain exactly what tool makes the sound cat attack, cat attack, cat attack, cat attack?"
Was it the taka, 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 taka? Okay, these are your hands holding down the piece of wood while you're going through the with the scroll saw, right? If you let go of it, it'll go. But if you hold it down, it's but if you have a light touch to it, you can have a little bounce. If you're forceful, but if you let a light touch, it'll. That's the tool.
I'll just quickly screen share. Is a bowl that he turned from Corey in there.
That is freaking trippy. Let me. And there it is live. Don't leave that screen, JP. I'm gonna go back to you. I just want to show the actual thing. Go ahead and show it again.
Yeah. Now the ring did break off. I didn't have cold jaws at the time, and I mounted it in the regular chuck, and the force trying to clean up the bottom severed it. So it's not 100%, but
nice. Keep showing us, JP. I'm focused on your. Actually, I'm going to present. Okay, JP.
Do you want me to show a few more pictures? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to present to everyone, and you should be good. And I want Michael to just hit us with whatever you show.
Keep scrolling through.
Do your bit.
If you want to, do you want me to go right from the top, or do you want me to just keep going from here?
No, play around with it and let Michael give us the lowdown.
They're obviously these are from Mr. Garnier.
Well, yeah, the metal one's from Dave Gagne. I think that was like the first one out of the second batch. And then that's another chunk of Corian. I didn't actually get around to doing a real one to enter Shogun Jimmy's challenge. But yeah, that was like the first thing I did on the $15 scroll saw.
Very cool.
My kid was like 5 and running around with that skull on a keychain.
these are obviously made out of Corian as well.
Yeah, so those are off-axis pendants. That's another thing that I learned first from Peter Brown's channel. So you turn the disc, the outside circle, centered on the lathe. You pull it off, drill a hole somewhere around a third down from the outside, and then use that drilled hole as the new center point. And put that back on the lathe with like a sacrificial block and hot glue, and then dish it out, and it makes this really cool. I don't even know what you would call the shape.
Like a pen type shape. I don't know.
Yeah, but I did those for Christmas gifts for the ladies in our family this year.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, that look nice. Very nice. Obviously, there's some rings that you did as well, obviously.
Yeah, I've not gone back and revisited that. That is way harder than it sounds.
That seems kind of sharp there as well.
Oh yeah. No, I did not have the proper jigs and stuff made up.
Yeah. Obviously, is the pens.
Yeah, that's just gorgeous stuff, dude.
Yeah,
It's
I really love the material.
Yeah, it looks nice.
The Gorilla Glue that you use is the foaming one that you just add a touch of water and it foams.
Yeah. The really gross yellowy glue. Yeah.
Would it not be better to use epoxy or something like that, like 2-part epoxy?
Well, the Gorilla Glue is an epoxy.
It's a polyurethane style epoxy, no?
I'm not really sure. All I know is it works and it's fairly cheap. And I don't have to mix it. I just squeeze it on there and go.
That's fair enough.
You do have to scuff the Corian so that it gets a good bite.
Yeah.
So I usually just rough it like 220.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, go. Can you go back up a little bit to the Reaper Woodworks? Just a random shout out to.
Yeah, Mike, who I still owe a sticker swap to.
Yeah, Mike Grimm.
No, I've had his envelope addressed for like 8 months and just keep forgetting to put a stamp on it.
Every time I see the Reaper, I usually post the song from
Don't Fear the Reaper, Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah.
There's a lot of TVs in my feed. That's something else that the maker community kind of got me able to do. Is I'd never soldered before, and talking to some of these cats, especially like the electrical guys, I've been picking up TVs either off the curb or off Craigslist and fixing them and either using them in the house, putting them.
So let me ask you while we're watching this, and you can stop at any time to talk about whatever JP is showing us in the feed. Who are some of the friends and buddies within the maker community that you usually chat with and connect with mostly? Give us just random name drop, or not random, but name drop those people that you talk with that you're constantly back and forth with. Is that like a scrotum? What the heck's going on there, dude?
Dude, that's just a cracked Easter egg.
That's terrible.
Well, and that was quite a segue. I would have to first shout out Steve from SDM Customs. We started talking early on. Steve has been like one of the most gracious people. I mean, we were talking daily there for a while. Steve was kind enough to send me some stuff he didn't need anymore. That I've been putting to use for a while. I actually just used a little tiny plane that he had sent me. Howie from July with Fitz. I won a contest he did. We had a beer together 2 time zones apart. That was pretty cool. I mean, and there are so many people. And I've actually won like a ridiculous amount of contests. Like I've got a 3D printed Tyrannosaurus Rex skull that I won from Wes at Geeksmithing.
You're showing it, but we'll show it after the fact because JP's is presenting, so all that the audience sees is. But keep that once we stop the sharing to show it. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Instructables is something else that I've really neglected recently, but really got into. I met people like Bales through there. I actually do a little work.
Bad luck.
Say again.
So you can't help bad luck.
But yeah, actually, Instructables has led to a little bit of revenue. I've been able to do like transcribing articles for other makers and putting them out on Instructables or on their website. So that's been kind of cool.
Well, that's cool, dude. But can I go back to what you said? Like when JP said something, to this moment, I still don't understand the actual 3 words that he said, and you laughed. So can you please tell me what it is that he said? Because I did not understand.
I believe it was "can't help bad luck."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Meeting Bales.
Okay.
There's the kangaroo rug. If you scroll back up, so that's actually kangaroo pelt. Bottom right.
Oh yeah, there. Yeah.
So that's a Monsieur Birch pin, which is also from my wife's granddad's shop, laying on the kangaroo pelt.
Oh look, and Dan the Maker Man, does a kangaroo pelt still have the pouch?
It does not.
That's a good question.
What did he say? What was the question he said?
Does a kangaroo pelt still have its pouch?
Wow, dude. You know, that's. I feel sorry for the little kangaroos. I know
they're like deer.
No, yeah, but like, I know, dude. It's just that there's like when you hear kangaroo, like growing up, all the cartoons and the little baby kangaroo sticks out of the pouch, and and yeah, I'm sorry, but it's just like poor little kangaroo.
They're vicious.
Well, yeah, I've seen pictures where they're standing outside of a window at like some Australian outback person's home, and they're like erect, standing in front of the window like monsters, and they're banging on the freaking window. It looks like a nightmare, but whatever, forget that. You can look that up on YouTube later, but there's one where the kangaroo's standing erect, and it looks like a freaking creature demon that's about to invade the person's house. It's scary because they bump into the freaking window. It's like a huge glass window, and they're smashing into it with no care for their own safety, dude. So forget what I said about
one on my guest bed. So there you go.
Anyways, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
fidget spinner.
Yeah, this is it, like if I didn't shout out Tony, I would feel terrible. Tony is like one of the greatest people that I've had the pleasure to know. Got this totally out of the blue. I'm like at a loss for how to express how awesome the community is. But yeah. So this is my Rulo original.
Nice.
I do want to mention that SDM. I did notice that SDM Customs is out there, and I did actually because we've been trying for like a couple of years now to see if SDM Customs would either come on over to the Facebooks, into the private groups where there's no, so we can share ideas and this and that. And we've also recently, Doc Jared said, hey, we gotta get freaking SDM on the show. We got to get him on the show. And then so I wrote him a little thing, and he was like, nah, dude, screw that, man. I don't want to. No, dude. And I'm like, so he's out there now. Come on, dude. Think about it. Continue, dude. I'm sorry. Is that the Scroll Saw Scribbler on your page?
Yeah, I don't know why I never deleted that.
Well, all right. Let's go back to the.
No, in all seriousness, Justin's work is incredible.
I love the dramatic long pause that you allowed. Let's go back to. I'm going to stop presenting you, JP, if that's okay with you guys, or is there anything else so that we can continue the?
No, that's it, mate. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I better get back to the chat.
All right. Let me just make sure that we're back normal. I think we're back normal. So So, dude, let me ask you this then. I did see Bales at one point, way before, ask, when are you coming out with another video and this and that. And I know that we talked a little bit, and you mentioned that I'm not so much in the videos right now and this and that. But I want to know where your mindset is, as far as you know what, whatever you want to share as far as that, YouTubing. Just give us your general thoughts on where you're at this point, and the reasons for,
Sure.
not doing or whatever.
The biggest thing is that it's just too big of a time suck for me most of the time right now. Like, I barely even get out in my shop, let alone have time to, pull out a camera.
Hey, when you said time suck, at the very same time, JP went, I guess, at the very same, you go, time suck, and JP coughed once. He goes, and the screen went, okay, continue. I'm sorry.
A lot of people may or may not realize, when I shoot, I've typically got at least 2 cameras going, for every shot. So there's a lot of editing, there's a lot of setup, even just like charging batteries and making sure that everything's ready. It's been over a year since I uploaded anything, and even that was just like a vlog, which I also had 2 or 3 cameras going at the same time, while I was driving. I'm really hoping to get back to it before too long. I don't remember the different people I was talking to about it. I think I was talking to Steve. I think the next one will probably be an overview of the multi-axis pendant that we were looking at. I've done a couple Facebook Live videos while I've done it. It's kind of difficult to video off-axis turnings. If you've ever seen that, there's a lot of air, and so the piece is hard to see spinning in one axis, but when it's not there half the time. So that might be kind of a challenge.
Yeah.
And I really need to perfect part of that too. Part of the thing for me, like I said earlier, I'm really a beginner with 90% of what I'm doing. So it's kind of this funny dichotomy of, here, let me show you how to do it, and I really don't know what I'm doing, or I'm figuring it out on the fly. Like, how many of us are going to do these projects like more than the time that we're filming it?
Oh, dude, and you're right. Plus
It's almost a lie, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, all film is a lie in some way. Like, we're only showing you the angle we want you to see, not the closet behind me. So there's that part, and like trying to figure it out, and also trying to do the making like for myself.
Well, I'm sorry, just because if you show, like, let's say you pick any movie, and you show the actual real timeline of the damn movie, but people be like sleeping because it's like the protagonist wakes up, he gets a cup of coffee, he goes to the bathroom, he's scratching his head. It's just like, it's not going to work. We need an abbreviated thing for that. But continue. When you said that, I was just thinking, it just totally threw everything for it. Oh, by the way, can you say time suck for one moment?
Time suck.
One more time.
We'll fix that in post. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's like a complicated thing, and I think at some point I may have been doing it for the wrong reason. To start with, it was like a fun, get involved with the community thing. And the way that YouTube changes the algorithm makes it really hard for even your subscribers to see your stuff.
Dude, that's the thing, dude. Even your darn subscribers. Well, then again, you don't know but even that, dude, it's like such a convoluted thing. Continue.
Yeah. Well, and then like, there's also this, like, you've got to be a little bit narcissistic to expect people to like care enough to watch. So there's like that aspect. And just the time and effort that goes into it. I mean, not to like whine about it. Like, it's obviously a personal choice to go through and do that.
Yeah,
I am hoping to get back to it. I enjoyed doing it. So we'll see. Yeah, hopefully fairly soon.
all right. That's a fair reply to that. JP, you're muted.
I know. Doc said, ask Lauren about appliance repair.
Yeah, that's gone really well for me recently. Yeah, so when I'm not fixing TVs or whatever else, I broke my refrigerator recently while trying to shoot a video to show Doc what I was talking about, and broke the fan blade. So I now own a new refrigerator. But I was able to fix the other one for $5 and then sell it, thanks to Doc.
Very cool. There's not really any more questions out in the chat.
Okay.
SEM's Customs turned around and says, he loves how you made him sound like a surfer redneck. He's from the UK.
I know. And your SDM, come on, dude.
All the talented people come from the UK. Didn't you know that?
Oh, now look what we're talking about. Yeah, but he's here in the States, and if you look at his logo, it's
Yeah, I know. I've seen it.
okay. So, and he's saying that I made him sound like a okay. Well, maybe he doesn't realize it. He's been here long enough, and maybe he does talk like that.
Yeah, it was a choice to get away from this hole.
What's that now?
It was a choice to get away from this hole.
Oh yeah, it was his choice. But
And you Americans are fascinated with the place.
I'm not. Well, because there's a lot of cool stuff there, starting with the Beatles and then all the ancient stuff. But the Beatles stuff or medieval.
The Beatles broke up years ago. Live with it.
Yeah, I'm good with that, dude. I'm good with that. I'm not good with it. I'm not good with it, but I'm okay with it. I just, don't freaking, dude, don't mess with the Beatles, dude. Okay, so let me ask you this. Somebody comes up to you and says, Michael, I need some life, inspiration. What's your philosophy in life? Your thoughts in life. How do you see, how do you see life? Hit us with that.
Sterling kind of did it for me last week. I am a Christian. That's that's the basis for everything for me. Coming into the community, one of the things I noticed first off was everybody sharing, and just like if you need something, like somebody there can help you. Growing up, that was something that I saw, like our family got helped by other people without asking. That whole like do unto others as you want, done for you. Like that's it, man. Like if I can go out and point somebody to a video on how to do what they're asking, or anything, like usually the effort is minimal and the impact is huge. Like, and if we all did like a little bit more of that, like how much better would everything be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally. Actually, I had that conversation with Steve Harneal, or AKA Steve Nealon. We like to play and call him Steve Harneal because he's Harneal Media. I had a conversation similar to that about, that sort of attitude of helpfulness with the community and all that. We had that discussion recently. It's an important thing. It's quite different. We're humans, and we're liable to have moods and changes, and life surrounding us can change, and we adapt to it. And some day, like today, was not a good day for me. I mean, it was a good day because we're alive and breathing. I kind of look at life like that. As crappy as the day, and it sucks, and you can always try and find a sleep moment to recharge, and then try to figure things out. Today was not a pretty good day, but I'm thankful and stuff, So I look at life in that fashion. How about you, JP? Although we did have a full episode interviewing JP, but I want to hear what he says now.
What?
You were listening to none of it.
No, I was playing with planes.
Plane flying around.
That was good stuff, dude. So, okay, so that's JP's answer. How do you? I don't even. Don't worry about it.
Go back and watch later. I was playing with planes.
No, you were doing something, and you're like, basically, it's like the hearing goes into like a little tunnel. So like the voice
Is there anybody out there? Just nod if you can hear me.
Oh man, I enjoy that kind of stuff, dude. But I agree with you.
Well, and have you noticed how much more of that there is in the maker community, like that openness and like helping each other?
Yeah.
Like I saw Tony's slip and slide party. They had like everybody brought stuff to swap. You know, like how wild is that? Like somebody was packing up like a ready alarm saw. Like, you know, we're not talking about just like, you know, here's a pair of pliers and a screwdriver. It was like legit stuff.
You know, Jimmy is a prime example for that.
Right.
He turns up with his truck full of tools, and he'll just say, he'll open up the back and say, "Help yourself."
Yeah, and yeah. I don't know any other discipline where you see that kind of generosity. I mean, I'm not saying it's not out there, but that's been a thing that like even my family has remarked on.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a few people that have just they don't even ask for it back or ask for any money. They just say, "Right, you need a chop saw. There you go, have that."
Yeah, exactly.
You need a lathe. There you go. There's that. You know, man, you're going to cut yourself on that table saw because it's a heap of crap. Have a brand new one. Or have my spare one because it's better than the one that you've got.
Right.
It is totally true. And anyone from the outside listening to that might think that that's just like talk, like you'd hear just, you know, oh, well, okay. But it's actually literally true when you're in that community and the connections. And unlike other, like I've said this before, musicians, forget it, dude. The whole musician thing, you know, communities or whatnot. I haven't seen them all, but I'm, you know, just out of like, you know, like 30 years of, it's always like cutthroat and like no support and nothing with musicians.
I don't know. It depends if you pull the right strings.
Well, and the other great thing about it is like there's no cost to entry to be a part of the community. You know, you pretty much show up and, you know, just, you know,
make something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what, like, you know, like it could be like a block of frickin' wood. It could be,
or as Chris Cute says, you just make the first cut.
Or you can just make the first cut. Yeah, that's totally true. So that does differentiate from a lot of the community. I don't know if the crafting, because it all incorporates that, but the idea that people, because I understand if JP is doing something, you know, although I may not do the same thing he does, but I understand like he's putting like time, effort into a thing, and it's like a work that and what's involved in that we don't see, like we talked about before, and I can appreciate that. And I think that everybody, you know, there's a lot of that, you know, that we can appreciate the hard work that goes into having a finished result type thing. So I think that, you know, is part of it.
Well, I think being able to appreciate beauty, like Andy Berkey is somebody that just like blows my mind. The amount of just
beauty
like
and Berkey in the same sentence.
What was that? What? What did he say?
Beauty and Berkey in the same sentence.
BB. We'll call Berkey BB.
Seriously though, I got the chance to hang out with him in Atlanta, and like my understanding of that dude beforehand was like, you know, this guy goes and does, you know, historic restoration. That was something I wanted to do when I was in high school. It's like, you know, this like dream gig of being able to like bring these old beautiful things back to life, and like, you know, seeing him in person, like still being real, and that way just like, you know, like made me feel good about the community all over again. But like really with people who make stuff, like I feel like we all have this ability to see more than just like this scroll saw thing as a scroll saw thing. We can find the beauty in whatever the medium is.
Yeah,
I think that allows us to like, care about what each other are doing regardless of the medium.
Yep. Agreed.
Except for routers. There's nothing good about them.
Oh, dude. Well, we're not going to get into that, but I mean, routers are pretty kick butt. It's just, see, I don't want to get into that CNC situation.
No, I didn't say CNC. I just said routers.
Well, because, it's different. Here we go. If you hand route a thing, now you're working with like possible errors. Now there's danger involved.
There's still dangers in CNC. You could had your back turned to your CNC and the router bit could break and come flying across the room. There's still danger in it.
Well, to me, the perfect. I'm honest here, and I'm going to piss off a lot of people, but the perfect all-around tool, power tool, not to take away from, but like the one that I think truly that the scroll saw is because I like the art of being able to, you can do the letters, you could do portraits, you could make boxes, you could do all the stuff that you could do on a bandsaw and this and that. So I find it as the not that I love the lathe, I love the table saw, but that one, instrument to me is
you can make bowls on a scroll saw as well.
You can make bowls, cups, all sorts of stuff. So you have to give the scroll saw, some
Team scroll saw.
What team scroll saw, So, but what do you say? And by the way, the argument, just in case, Twidell's probably out there fuming, and not only that, but and I'm probably right, and Javi, if he's out there, is probably fuming, and all the cat. So, but what do you guys say that would probably be not that it's the best? I think that it's the most rounded to being able to do different. What do you guys think would be the best all-around power tool?
Your head.
Hey. It's true.
A pencil connected to the electric supply.
Oh, come on.
I got to say, I would not have said it until I started reading this book, but the router is like insane. I mean, even a handheld, like no CNC, like you can use it to plane, and joint and pattern following. I mean, it's pretty radical. But like before that, I would have said easily the table saw. Like you can do almost all the coving and detail work you would do with a molding plane or a router. My favorite's still the lathe, though.
No. I get the favorite. Like I'm enjoying the heck out of the lathe. So the lathe is the thing right now. But I'm saying if I looked at it, I can cut little letters out. I can make a box. I can make a round box. Just you have to segment it. I can make a bowl. Little art pieces and hinges and all sorts of stuff, and just the regular, like a hanging wall art type deal. So you could use that in multiple, but you can't necessarily cut the ability to be able to cut letters or little like shapes as opposed to like the tables. It's not a fair question. I just wanted to see what you said. JP was being difficult, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, Steve Twidell's made a good point. You got the rotary tool as well.
That's true, actually.
Because that could be turned into that can also be turned into a router of sorts.
Yeah. Heck, when it comes down to it, the CNC ends up being, because you could do all of that with the CNC. That's probably what
it can also be turned into a scroll saw of sorts.
Yeah.
You can just go straight through the wood.
So I guess we've come full circle and we can all say that the CNC is actually the perfect tool. Because it can do it all, actually.
No, like a Dremel.
No, yeah, I know. Yeah. So let me
mind you, saying that trend has just come out of like a spinning rotary carver, isn't they?
Who
It's
did?
a trend. It's like a CNC rotary carver.
Oh, I think Mark
And
Lindsay.
it's like a CNC with a lathe as well.
Mark Lindsay has one now.
No, I think he built his own, didn't he?
He built his own. Yeah, Mark Lindsay
Yeah.
did.
So he has, but he's not got the trend one. No.
So okay, so let me ask you this: did you enjoy yourself?
Definitely.
Awesome, dude. So will you come back and see us?
Yeah, anytime.
Awesome, dude. Any place that any shout outs or places you'd like folks to go check out? Anything you'd like to final words and
Man,
whatnot?
I'm sure I forgot some people who have been like super instrumental in me like learning or getting to be where I'm at. But I just really have appreciated being a part of just the community as a whole. I do have shirts on the Makers Media Network store as of tonight. Glad to be a part of the crew there. Big thanks to Steve for getting that together. And then I think my links are in the description. So stop by, say hi.
Yeah, I'll show. Let me see if I still have it up here. Yeah, here is makersmedianetwork.com in the shop, and you can see we have 5x30, awesome wood things, Becky's Texas Wood Shop, Be Happy Woodworking. We got mugs now, Bob Lee. Look at that awesome logo. We have Crosscut Creations, Harju, and we had an episode with Harju. There's a story with the bent nail, Desert Bum. We've got Doc Jared, but this is his Flying 9 logo, and there's a story behind Flying 9, but it's a bad to the bone logo. If you read the bottom of the insignia, it says established back in the day. Frankie's CNC. So this list goes on for like almost 100 makers. Okay. So it goes on. There's Heath, another Doc, the Murdochs. But I'm trying to find yours. Here's Lindsay. We were talking about man crafting. There he is. You've got a mug and a shirt, dude. Let's go into it.
There's mine as well.
Okay, there's the shirt.
Jamie, I've been led to believe that your shirt pairs best with a pair of action slacks.
Probably.
Where was JP's? Oh, look, we've got rag ties. 2 mugs, different styles as well, and shirts. Here's mine. Where's JP's? We were looking for JP's. You said, there's mine.
It's probably under J.
Well, here's Works by Solo. And here's Patrick's Workshop, Pam Harris. I mean, this goes on. OJ over here, Moy, Ox in the shop. I mean, it's insane. Miter Mike. I'm looking for yours, dude.
It's under J.
Here's Mama Bear's She Shed logo. Tracy. Not in Burl. Jim, Dockrell. JP right over here. How bad to the bone is that? Jerry's Machines, Javi's Wood Shop, Heath Knuckles. It just goes on and on. Here's Donnie. Gib Clark as well. So basically, guys, and I'll show you. Here's the Mad Maker shirt, okay, that I'm selling on my store, that I'm wearing right now. There you go. So, and here's the Portal Woodworks Challenge, Plywood Challenge, 1 sheet. Go to portalwoodworks.com, and you have till the end of July. There's plenty of prizes, so check that out as well. I think that covers it. I was going to say something, but I forgot. Let me stop with the presenting and bring me back in the thing. So, all right. JP, any final words?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my fellow co-host Doc and his YouTube channel. There's nothing over there at the moment, but you can still go and subscribe. It's Flying 9 Industries over on the YouTubes. So yeah, that's it. He's got 21 subscribers at the moment, but he wants more. Well, I don't know if he wants more, but he should have more. So yeah, Doc is going to be my shout out.
All right, nice. Can you link Anna down there? Thank you so much, Anna. I appreciate it. We're gonna wrap this up. JP will link you off of
I'm gonna link Doc's over there as well.
So yeah, dude. So you know, just before so that he can do the linking, I just want to mention that I've been doing little extraction clips and doing mini clips of this show and putting people's, you know, small conversations. The Sterling one was super funny. We had one where Tony Rouleau is talking about back in the day in the 80s, growing up in the 80s. We had Chad from Mancrafting explaining, you know, how he got his name. And there's a lot of information that goes on in these videos. And so we're doing them in bite-sized pieces, and I'm extracting sometimes little funny bits and we're going to put it out there with their name, link them, link to the show, and all that stuff, and just bite-sized stuff. So that's what we're doing with that, and I'm trying to put as many out there as possible because I mean, why not? You know, the information's there. Maybe the whole show is not a consumable thing for some people, and they'll get a gist of what the show is, and then maybe they'll want to learn more about the maker involved.
Yeah, no, I've been really enjoying the teasers.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about what you're putting out for me because you're leaving mine till last.
No, well, here's another thing. You better be worried. But here's another thing. It's not just going to be one clip of, let's say, Michael Loewen, one clip. It'll be little mini clips, but I'm trying to stagger them so that we reach everybody, so that everybody's got a little, and then we'll sort of do a bunch of little clips, like, you know, whatever. There was an episode where Heath Knuckles is introduced, and he's sitting there with his face like that, and then all of a sudden JP busts out with a joke, calling him Bobby Duke, and then Heath Knuckles, no, it's Heath, and just funny little interactions. Carl Jacobson went on a whole thing about JP also dissing Carl and I about cutting ourselves on the scroll saw, so I crunched that. And these are things that might be forgotten in the greater scheme of all these shows. Well, we're going to extract them and have them in little places throughout. So that's the point of doing that, getting the name of the show out there, and so that people know, oh, there's makers here. Oh, and look, and you get the point. So that's the story with that. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much. Did you get those links, JP?
Yes, mate, yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for visiting. Michael, thank you so much for hanging out with us, dude. You guys out there, thank you for hanging. We'll have a show next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. Say goodbye, guys.
Thanks for having me.